California.
Can you share a favorite childhood memory that still brings you joy?
I have a couple memories that flash to mind when I think about favorite memories from childhood. I think that the majority of them definitely would have to be running around. I mean, there's no specific memory, but running around with my friends, playing Pop Warner football, just doing kid stuff, playing in the canal, stuff like that.
What is one of the most meaningful compliments you've received, and why did it stand out to you?
I would have to say that it would be from one of my close friends, Willie. It was during our earlier years of friendship, and he complimented me on my personality, having to deal with my skin, vitiligo, being a little bit more tougher for me to interact and socialize. But he complimented the fact that I was actually quite well at socializing. I was more friendly to people. I was more outgoing, and that sort of helped, especially at the age when I first met my best friend. It was still my early teenage years, and so I was still growing within my confidence, growing within myself. So I would say that would have to be one of my fondest memories, and that's why.
So since you mentioned your vitiligo, what has been the most challenging thing or a misconception with your vitiligo that people often have?
I would have to say my confidence, it's more developed. I think that it's something of which I had to sort of come to, not really accept, but come to like about it. Because there wasn't, for myself internally, there wasn't much that I liked about it. And I think that as I've grown up and as I've developed in that confidence, more people see it differently in terms of finding it like, oh, that's interesting, or oh, I think that's kind of cool, of that nature. But I think the common misconception that is around it is assume that people who have it, or like myself who has it, have fully grasped that concept of, for it to be cool, like, oh, that's something that's interesting. Because I think for a long period of my life, it wasn't that I didn't want to be cool. Like, I didn't want it. So people complimented me on it or just finding interest in it. I think that was the toughest thing for me to sort of battle with and sort of get over. And since doing that, now I body it a little bit more. I now don't really care too much. Like, I used to care a lot about clothing myself, covering myself. Now, I mean, I have no problem with literally going to a nude beach if I had to. So I just grown in that way. Yeah, I would have to say.
What is a painful experience that you went through that you never thought was possible to recover from, that you don't mind sharing with us?
To be straightforward, I think the most painful experience that I've gone through, and I didn't think I was going to get through, is really just growing up. I've had a challenging thing about trying to be more independent than I need to be, not relying on people. And I think that's been the toughest thing, because I try to do things sort of by myself when I have people around me who could help me. And in not doing that, or in not reaching or seeking that help, it hurts their feelings, but it also hurts my feelings, because I'm not as open-minded to it. And it's not something that they don't do or they haven't done. It's more of like I have something to prove to myself. But in trying to prove all that, I only hurt myself. I only hurt my feelings. I only hurt my idea of what I think it is to love somebody or to show love to somebody. And so I would say that's, in all, I think has been the toughest experience for me, is to just like sort of just growing up, developing, knowing that people aren't going to be around for long, knowing that everything has its time, and coming to accept that, and coming to then change about it, like try to do, behavioral change in how you respond to them, or how you approach them, or how you ask for help, or something of that nature. That has been, I think, is my toughest experience thus far, because I haven't really had to witness too much death, which makes me aware, like, okay, I know that parents are getting older, grandparents are getting older, family members, siblings are getting older, starting to have kids, and so it's a lot more of a weight now, and I think that it's a real tough experience.
If you could go back in time and learn from someone, not like a family member or not a parental figure, but a historical figure, if you could go back in time and learn from them, who would you say that would be?
There's a lot of people who come to mind when you say historical figures, because I kind of wonder at a lot of major figureheads throughout the development of the country and the world. But the ones that definitely come to mind is my guy right there, Martin Luther King Jr. as well as Bob Marley. But then I also like for the likes of like Dick Gregory, or there's also a gentleman by the name of Stokely Carmichael. I've grown to see that. Another one now I would say that I would just want to just sit and listen to, talk to, would be like Jordan Peterson. So there isn't really particularly one. If there was one for sure, more than likely have to be Malcolm X. Yeah, that'll have to be one. If there was just going to be one, maybe. You know what? No, scratch that. Bob Marley. I think that it would be Bob Marley because I don't know. I find a lot of things interesting just about how he was able to be in the environment that he was able to be in, to find a place of peace within all of that without, having the, what we would call bare necessities of things being in the Western culture, and being okay with it, dealing with the... I wouldn't want to be in that time though as well. Like, let me make that clear. I wouldn't want to go back and chill with Bob Marley during that time. So you could say that, that's just my ignorant privilege, but I would want to just be around him to figure, just to figure this thing out, called peace and love, and what is his conceptualization of it all.
What is the most surprising lesson you've learned about love and friendship?
The most surprising lesson I've learned about love and friendship is that it's not always about how you feel and perceive what love and loyalty is when you're dealing with another human being. So trying to figure out how they feel loved, how they feel heard, how they feel the relationship is, and what they want out of the relationship as well. And that's romantic, friendship, familial relationships. I think that's the biggest one, is trying to dissociate yourself with the idea that you know what love is, or you know what loyalty is, or I did this, so they should feel a certain way, they should feel love, or they should feel this. So that's what I'll say has been the most surprising for me, is just trying to understand that's not just how I perceive it. Yeah.
What does raising the bar mean to you?
Raising the bar to me means pushing past your expected end. So if I have something that is a goal for me, and I set that and I say, okay, I'm trying to reach this goal, raising the bar is sort of not even having that set expectation, not having a bar there to set yourself. So I like to claim to believe that in order to raise the bar is sort of to raise the standard. It all starts from the smallest of things. That's the thing about raising the bar, is that sort of it's a macrocosm of things. It's not just one thing in isolation. It's not just, okay, I want to have $100,000, and so let me just focus on my finances. It's no, how are you sleeping? How is your nutrition? How are you treating, your family and loved ones? How is that going to play in association, just in isolation with your finances, but how is that playing in a more broader scheme of raising the bar with your life, raising the standard of things?
Okay. If your life were a book, what would its title be and why?
Nice. If my life was a book, I'll actually be taking it from Dick Gregory, the guy I mentioned earlier, but it will be Catalyst on My Soul. And I like that thought, because the way that he also depicted it when he wrote a novel also called Catalyst, I think literally the same title, but he depicted that as being almost just like if you're working out and you get this catalyst on your hands. That's sort of what the life is. You're getting catalyst on your soul. You're going through things. You're getting familiar, but while growing in that familiarity, you're encountering things that are going to be an opposite force against you. And so that'll be the story of my life. You know, what are the things that put me to where I'm at? What are the things I've gone through? What are the things that I'm still working towards? And sometimes, you know, especially when you have calluses or you know about calluses, they tend to rip, they tend to break, they tend to bleed. And so that's the other element of it as well that I think just accompanies that whole camaraderie of life, situations, environments, things, and so that's what I would call that.
What piece of advice would you give to your younger self? I mean, I know you're young, but your younger self. What one piece of advice?
One piece of advice I would give to my younger self would be stop being so much in your head, and that'll be the biggest piece of advice. Stop being so much in your head, because I think that sometimes you over rationalize things, overthink things. Yeah, that's what it'll be.
What do you hope people remember most about you when you're no longer around?
Well, the last thing that people remember me by is that I tried. That I tried.